Scouts Victoria respectfully acknowledges the traditional custodians of the country throughout Victoria where our activities take place today. We pay our respects to elders both past, present and emerging, and continue to recognise and embrace the important continuous history and connection to land and community of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people.
Welcome to Scout Quest. I'm Mackenzie from First Tyran Parke, and I'm a Scout. I'm really excited tonight to chat with Rob Mills. Rob Mills is a born entertainer, a popular singer, presenter, actor, MC, and media personality. Rob has carved himself out a successful career spanning over 15 years, with many high-profile credits to his names. I have personally seen him in so many Melbourne theatre shows, like Peter Allen's Story, Not the Boy Next Door, Wicked, and Legally Blonde. Personally, Wicked was my favourite. Joining Rob tonight is Tyran Parke. Tyran is one of Australia's most acclaimed musical theatre directors. Tyran's most recent projects include directing the musical Barnum, starring Todd McKenney, and the national tour of Chess, starring Natalie Batsway, Paulini, and tonight's guest, Rob Mills. But first, I wanted to introduce our very own Scout Showtime producer, also Deputy Chief Commissioner, Daniela.
Hi, Mackenzie.
Hey, Daniela. I really wanted to chat with you before tonight's Q&A, as I heard a rumour that you were totally fangirling with tonight's guest.
Massive fangirl, like seriously, from Australian Idol. I've seen all those shows that you talked about, to Ghost, to Swing on This. Quietly just fangirling in the corner here.
I'm glad we can do this tonight, as last Saturday would have been closing night for Camberwell Showtime. But I'm looking forward to when we get back, and hopefully I'll pick up some tips tonight for my singing solo, as I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, Camberwell Showtime, like many shows, has been postponed due to the lockdown. But you know what? Just gives us more chance to rehearse. Yeah, we'll get there. It's all about people trying new things. Your solo is going to be great.
Well, I think we should get going tonight and bring in our guests. Are you sure ready to meet Rob?
Hi guys.
Welcome, Rob and Tyran, to Scout Quest. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd love to introduce you to our Deputy Chief Commissioner, who is a massive fan and has been counting down the sleeps till tonight.
I have to say, I was a little bit crestfallen when you were like, we're fangirling. I was like, you don't have to be. It's fine. It's just, him. Oh, him. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
He's been in many shows, that Tyran Parke. I fangirl over Tyran.
Yeah, this is going to be a love fest. But
yeah,
it's lovely to meet you both and see you both, and then to welcome you, Mr. Mills.
It's good to see you, Tyran. It's good to see you guys. Mackenzie, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Danielle, thank you so much as well for following musical theatre, for going to all those shows. I mean, that's why we do it, to tell the story so people can come along and escape.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your world in musical theatre and all the things you've done and television and all that good stuff, Rob. But I actually wondered if we could find out, because I heard on the grapevine that you were once a Scout. Is this right? Or are you just saying that to get on the show?
Dub, mate. Yep. Glen Waverley Thirds, I think it was, down in Whites Lane in Willers Hill, where I grew up. My brothers were Cubs and then Scouts. Actually, they went on to become Venturers. They did the whole bit. They were like leaders, and so I was a Cub when I was a kid as well. But sport took over for me, and I took a bit of a sport turn. But yeah, I very fond memories, and I remember going to like the Jamboree. Is that right? I said that right? When my brothers went, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. I should have stayed in Cub. I should have stayed in the Scouts. The Jamboree, that's awesome.
Well, there were other things ahead for you, my friend. Lots of amazing things. I guess we've only got so everyone should know that Millsy is one of my favorite people in the world. So I've been trying to catch up with him for some time. So this is really just a great excuse for that to happen. So we'll try and keep on track, but I do have a few questions for you, and I know Mackenzie's going to field some questions that come through towards the end of the presentation as well. But I wanted to jump in and find out then, Millsy.
Yeah, mate.
I wanted to find out like where music came from, because I guess you came into our worlds via reality TV, and that can be a tricky thing, I imagine, to navigate through, especially at a young age. How old were you when you went on Idol?
I was 21 when I was in the original Australian Idol with my old mate Guy Sebastian. And I love watching him. I was actually just watching him the other night on television on The Voice as one of the judges, and he sang with this lovely woman, a blind woman. He sang "Climb Every Mountain," and it's a song that he sang on the show. It was so beautiful, and it took me back to that time. And he has not changed at all. And I like to think I have not changed much at all. We've matured and grown up, I suppose, but still have that zest for performance and wanting to perform and sing songs. But yeah, mate, I was quite young at 21, I think, even though I had spent years in the pubs singing every weekend. So while my friends were going out and partying, I was working about 2 or 3 different jobs plus singing on the weekends. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I sang. So like some people would go to school and learn to sing. I sort of learnt my craft singing in pubs in front of people.
And was that what you always, I mean, I want to talk more about the Idol thing, because when we think about Idol, those who can remember that first series, it's amazing, like the amount of people out of that first series that did so well. It must be quite amazing to watch those people go on to have such amazing careers. Were you imagining when you were growing up then that you wanted to be in the pop world? Is that what, when you say you were in a band, and is that the world you wanted to step into as a career?
Yeah, I love bands, so more sort of rock music, but I loved all kind of top 40 hit music when I was growing up as a kid. So anything that was on the radio, basically. And back in those days, it was everything from Nirvana and Pearl Jam, but I was also listening to Backstreet Boys and Michael Jackson, and my dad's taste of music of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and mum's taste of music like Barbra Streisand and Linda Ronstadt and Bette Midler, and plus my brother's music, which is all just Aussie rock sort of stuff like Cold Chisel and Johnny Diesel and the Injectors. So I had a pretty large, like a plethora, an eclectic mix of sort of musical influences. I don't think I ever thought I would be a pop star or a rock star, Tyran. I'm just getting back to your question. I just knew that there was something in me that needed to perform. I think that's my favorite thing, is just being on a stage and performing, whether it is having a joke, having a laugh, and I think that came from me being the class clown at school, to even doing like comedy skits now. I've been doing a few more things like that, but then that sort of lends itself into musical theatre. I think that's sort of how I fell into musical theatre. I didn't really I shouldn't say I fell into it. I fell in love with it. It's probably better.
I want to find out about, I mean, it's interesting hearing you talk about having so many stylistic influences. One of the things that I do, as you know, Millsy, is I work at the Victorian College of the Arts, and today we were doing a style class with Vika Bull, and she was talking about, all the influences of her growing up, that, her kind of Tongan traditions, the religious songs. She was talking about her dad loving classical music and her mum loving jazz. And I guess all of those influences you draw on now in what has become, a career that has spanned a whole bunch of different music. I mean, you think about what you were singing on Idol, and then you think of Hair, and you think of Grease, and you think of Wicked, and I mean, they're all
Superstar.
He's a great superstar. Exactly.
So weird.
Yeah, and I guess all of that is there. You kind of draw on those different singers and storytellers. Tell me, was it a surprise then when you did so well on Idol? I mean, did you kind of think, I'll just go in and see? Did you know what it was? Like those shows now?
I didn't really know. No, I didn't really know what it was. I remember lining up. I got there on the Saturday morning and they said, you've got to come back tomorrow. We've got too many people. So I went back the next day. I'd already done 2 gigs the night before, and I got there at about maybe 6 in the morning. I hadn't slept. I stayed up all night, went to Macca's, got a few cheeseburgers, and lined up with the other, 10,000 people or something. I don't think they saw me until like 11. But I remember standing around looking around at people going, I've got this. I'll get through to the first bit. Like I had an air of confidence. Like if I'm singing in pubs and people are clapping, like I'm doing something right. Like I think I'll get through the first bit. I didn't realize I was going to get through to the top 10, the top 12, and then the top 6, and then top 5 at the time. So I didn't think that I was going to win, especially after I heard Guy Sebastian sing for the first time when we got to the top 100 in Sydney. I heard him sing and went, well, that's it. Let's all go home. Let's all go home. No disrespect, Shan. Shan was also very good. And a dear mate of mine. But we all knew. We all knew he was going to win.
But it is interesting because you say that, and recently Rob and I worked together on a musical that also had Paulini in it, who was part of that original team as well. And
also
she said, also a superstar. And she said to me, she was talking about having known you for so long and about how your voice has developed. And when she thinks back to Idol, is that something that you worked on? I mean, you had all this success at a young age. Did you have to keep working to develop your voice, or did that just happen over time?
No, 100%. And that came from getting into your world, Ty, into getting into musical theatre. After falling in love with it, I did a big stage show called Grease, the Arena Spectacular. John Farnham was in it. Natalie Bastingthwaite was the first time I'd worked with Nat. Magda Zabansky, Richard Wilkins. There's a huge lineup of stars in that show. And I met all these wonderful, I don't want to even call them ensemble members, but just the cast of this company were the hardest working people I ever met. And I really fell in love with their energy. But I also fell in love with their party ethic. But also to gain their respect, I know that I needed to get their work ethic down. So that's the thing that drove me, actually, was for the acceptance of those peers. I really wanted them as friends and as colleagues, but you don't become friends and colleagues unless you're respected in the industry. And coming from a pub background or reality TV background, I realized I had to work really, really hard, probably harder than a lot of the people that had already been doing it for years. So yeah, I took singing lessons, dance lessons, acting lessons. I started learning. I remember the first thing I learned was I learned Shakespeare to learn about loving language and the importance of language and how words matter. I think instinctively that's always been the case with me. Even singing cover band songs, I was always, what's the song about? I mean, I never really thought about it. It just came instinctively, but the words matter. The storytelling has always mattered. So, but yeah, my voice has changed over time, and that's whether it's trying to fit in with the musical theatre people or just wanting to be better, just trying to get better, just trying to learn more. I like growing up. I like growing. I like maturing. I like the process of it. I think as a creative, that's the thing that we try and do is we have good taste. We see something, go, that is great. It's like when you hear a song on the radio or when you go see a piece of theatre or you go see a play or a musical, you're like, that actor is brilliant. And I am not there yet, but I could be. I could do that. I saw Adam Garcia in Wicked in 2006. I went on a holiday overseas to London, and Helen Dellimore was in the show, another Aussie. Idina Menzel, this huge superstar, was playing Elphaba. But I remember seeing Adam, and I went, "He can do that. Maybe, yeah, I could do that." And then I went, "Well, you can't. You can't dance. You can't sing very well. You can't act." So as I said, that's why I took dance lessons, singing lessons, acting lessons, and I worked really hard to develop the skill set. And then I just learned on the job. And I think one of the best things as well is if you're good at your job and you're a good human being, I don't know, people respond to that as well, and they offer help, especially in our industry. I think it's quite a giving and loving industry, like the Scouts as well. I think back to my time when I was in the Scouts. Even when you're a young kid, or the Kayla would always offer help, and then there was the guys above that who were in the Scouts or the Venturers. They would always help each other out. That sort of mentoring program. That's just not even a program. It just is. It's instinctive. I think we have that in our industry as well a little bit without even knowing it.
And can I ask you, this kind of leads into that, I guess, in a way. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things I want to ask about Wicked and all those things in the middle there. But given that you've started to circle back already, I mean, I love that idea that you were handed quite a platform with Idol, but you still had to work or wanted to work to be better. And I think that is why you've had longevity, because to be honest, not everyone on Idol has, had that, and you've kept working. I just wonder how that translates. So you're in Greece, the Arena Spectacular, and you're Johnny Casino. How does it shift when you're Danny Zuko and you're leading the company? Like, what extra response, because you did another version of Greece where you were suddenly the guy. What does that do to your role in the company? I guess there's a kind of leadership position there in a way. Is that right?
I think it depends on the personality type that you are. Like, I think there's one thing, if there's probably a lot of younger people watching this, is just try and work out what sort of personality type you are. There's a Myers-Briggs test that you can do to work out whether you're introverted, extroverted, or perceiving or intuitive, all that sort of stuff, right? I know that I'm not a natural alpha leader type, so that's not the thing that I'm not a natural leader. So what I did was nothing different. I just was myself, and I led by example, I suppose. I didn't say, all right, guys, this is what we're going to do. But I did put my hand up to be an equity representative on a few shows, trying to stand up for what was right, I thought was right for the company and whatnot in every show that I've been a part of. But I think it's just leading by example. And if it always filters down from the top. If you've got good leadership, you find that your lieutenants and your sergeants and your corporals, I'm using an army thing. I'm sure there's a better one to use for the scouts. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten what it is. But the same goes, and you're a prime example, Tyran. Like, you're an excellent leader, and as a director, you feel like you're in a safe pair of hands. If you're dedicated and your work ethic is up here, then everyone goes, oh, that's what we have to do. We've got to do that. That's what he would do. That's what he would expect. And without even saying it, you don't have to be a hard taskmaster.
I believe the term is patrol leader. Just to
thank you, patrol leader. Thank you. You're a great patrol leader. And I don't think I was ever that kind of person, but I realized I needed to probably step up a bit more and be a bit more of a leader. So yeah, I tried just to lead by example and try and be a good human and try to make sure that everyone was okay. Everyone's having a good time. That's the part of the thing. We're doing the same thing every day, 8 times a week, for the course of probably, I think it was nearly 2 years for Greece. I did Wicked for 2 years. Ghost was like 9 months or something. Same with Legally Blonde. So it's important to, I think, check in on people and make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Or at least try and bring a good vibe as well.
Because that's a hard slog. I mean, getting a show is one thing, but sustaining it over a period of time and keep getting up there and doing that again and again for an audience who've paid the same money that the first audience who ever saw it have paid. The
first audience didn't pay, Tyran. They always get free tickets. Those celebrities.
Yeah. I like to be part of that audience myself. But
I do too.
Can I ask you then, because you seem to be, I mean, you're really successful. I mean, that's just the truth. You're really successful. It's a hard industry. And I wonder, that story about Wicked, which I've heard before, about you seeing it in London and deciding that you wanted to be there. I'm imagining there might be some people watching tonight who similarly have some goals and they see things and they go, I want to get there. Tell me, was it nerve-wracking? I mean, was it like, you would have had to go up against a whole bunch of people who had real music theatre chops, had come out of these institutions. And what do you do with your nerves when you go into that?
And I'm getting nervous at the thought of it. I just got, look, I don't know if you see that. I've got goosebumps all over my arms at the thought of doing that all again, of putting myself out there, like the amount of extra work that I would do whenever I go for a run. I heard that you can get better singing fitness if you sing while you're running. So I would run and sing my lines. I would go over all the audition stuff, or I would all the extra stuff that every day that I did to get that role. I wrote in a journal about why I deserved to be in the role and what the character would mean to me and what this role would mean. Like, heaps of stuff. It was stuff I'd never dreamed of doing before. I'd never done any of that sort of imagining, visualization sort of stuff. Yeah. So I'm not saying that was the reason that it worked. You can't just write something down on a piece of paper as I deserve to get that role and not do the work. Still to do the work. But to anyone watching now, I would say practice makes perfect. It's a really old cliche line that, and also you could not live in a better time. We are so lucky right now. I mean, apart from being locked down, most of us, but even then, if you want to learn anything, someone has done it on YouTube already. And you just type in, how do I do this? And someone goes, oh, hey, this is how you learn that song. Oh, this is how you sing that thing. Like, you could not be more connected to any kind of information in the world, in whatever language you want it in it, like, it's mind blowing how I feel bad for teachers because they're like, well, I can't teach you all that stuff. Kids are on YouTube just learning so much stuff.
Completely. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you can learn everything just from YouTube. You still need, as I said, practice makes perfect. Is the best strategy. I mean, I guess having a positive mindset definitely helps as well.
Yeah, and that thing about like setting a goal, but then doing the work for it as well. You would know Hayden T, don't you? Hayden T.
Oh yes.
Who's Hayden T performed the role of Javert.
Miz, yeah.
Here, but also on Broadway.
He was Mrs. Trunchbull in Matilda.
Yeah, but I don't know if he ever told you the story that he wrote down on a piece of paper, you will be playing Javert on Broadway at this date. He knew when it was opening or whatever, and he wedged it in behind the seats. And the night that he played the role for the first time on Broadway, he went and found the note still there. Like, that is just, but he also worked like crazy to get his skills ready for that role. And clearly, I mean, the thing about, I remember seeing you in Wicked, and Wicked was amazing and all of that. And I remember going, well, hello, who's this guy? Like, come off these reality TVs. Who are these people? And look, surprisingly good, my friend. Surprisingly good. So tell me, what does that term mean to you? Rob Mills is surprisingly good. It's a bit of an in-joke between us in a way, but Rob wrote a show called Rob Mills is Surprisingly Good, a one-man show. So what is the connotation of that title? What's that about?
So I've always grown up as someone who doesn't really take themselves seriously. Everything I do, I take seriously. But there's a sort of, because I don't really take myself seriously, I think there's a connotation for people to have an expectation that I'm just not that good, right? Or so then when they meet me or when they see me in a show, they see me and I'm good, and they say, he's surprisingly good. He's actually he's a pretty good guy. He's actually all right. Like, this he's pretty talented. There's always a surprising sort of backhanded compliment, I suppose. But doing that show, Ty, which you were instrumental in putting it all together, but making me feel that I was in myself good enough. I think that's what the show was all about, was putting that sort of frame of mind in the past and knowing, and it's something that we really struggle with in Australia. We have a tall poppy syndrome. We get to a point where we need to actually own the fact that we are good enough, that we do belong to be somewhere. I'm not saying it at the age of 10 that you're like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm the best. I belong on The Voice. I should be singing up there. Well, maybe, but most likely not. You've still got probably a few hurdles to jump before you get there. But there is a point that I feel like we don't hit in Australia enough is, I'm good enough. It's really refreshing to watch the and heartwarming. I cried so many times over the last month. The Olympics were on, and to see all those athletes who, a lot of them are getting paid no money at all. They're doing this just for the love of it. But knowing that they're good enough. They're good enough to be on this world stage. No apologies. Even the guy that Peter Bowl came fourth. And it's just like, yeah, man, that was great. Like, in the world, it's amazing. So, but there was no one's knocking them. No one's knocking these guys for coming first or third or whatever. I kind of wish that we had more of that sort of that spirit within us, that we can harness that, whatever spirit that is that we feel for those athletes, is to put it into every day. Like whether you see someone draw a good picture, that was really good. That was great. You're a good artist, or someone who writes a great play, or someone who just does something great for someone, and you go, you're great. You're really great. Anyway.
It is kind of cultural, I think, because I think about my time in America, and that tall poppy thing doesn't exist there. You know, that's not part of their world, and we kind of feel like,
you're so good, you're the best. You gotta be the best, Tyran, and you are the best. You're great. You're the greatest.
Yeah, it's that thing though, isn't it? That you go, you feel a little bit like, oh, am I allowed to feel that? Like am I allowed to kind of feel that? But I guess at some level, if you're going to walk into your final callback for Wicked or Legally Blonde, or and you've got a lot of people in that audition room, you got to back yourself. You got to back yourself to be there and to kind of win the role, I guess.
I had a moment, my last audition for Moulin Rouge, where the role is so different to who I am as a person. The role of the Duke, he's very charming, which is, I feel like I'm a little bit charming, charismatic, but he's an evil, dark, he's a very dark character, and quite manipulative of people. And anyway, I let that out openly after the audition. So I did the audition and they were like, that was great, Rob. That was awesome. How do you feel? I went, gross. I feel really horrible because me as a person does not like feeling like doing that to another person. I think I was acting opposite a friend of ours in Elise McCart, and I basically abused it. Not physically abused it, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel good doing that. I don't feel
the text required that, yeah. Like
yeah. And I got there in the, they say in acting, I got there in the room. But I went, I don't feel great about that. And I think maybe saying that out loud maybe was one reason, like, well, he's going to struggle doing that every night. So I think I much prefer doing the fun roles is what I'm getting at. The fun roles are much better, but it is fun to play the bad guy.
And do you have a favorite? I mean, you've played so many roles. Do you have a favorite role? There's, as you say, there's Superstar. I mean, playing Jesus Christ Superstar doesn't get much bigger than that. You've got Wicked, you've got Legally Blonde, you've got Hair, Grease, all these Chess, all these shows. Like, have you got a favorite?
Chess. So in the end, there's a show. There's a two-hander by Jason Robert Brown that I was lucky enough to do with my good friend Marika Aubrey. Also was in Matilda. As the mum, she and I got to create the piece. Basically, it's written on the page, but it was the first time that I'd had the chance to sort of flex an acting muscle. It wasn't like with Wicked and all the other musicals. You just do what they've done before on Broadway or on the West End. So it was the first time that I got to sit with the director, and I'm like, I kind of want to get up on the chair. Can we have a chair here?
Can I just explain for people who are not necessarily in the theatre, because Wicked, if you see Wicked in New York, you see it in London, you see it anywhere, it's the same. It's the same production. You get told to go in the same blocking. So it's a different kind of thing to be in that as opposed to you creating something, yeah? So I just wanted to clarify that, yeah.
And also when I say I'm creating it, I'm not writing the music. The music is already there. And there is minimal stage directions for this show. But, yeah, I got to sort of create what I would do, how physically I would do it, or what I would feel, which you always have to do as an actor. But this is the first time really that I got to sort of flex that muscle properly. And the music is so beautiful. And I was wanting to do it for quite a few years, and I found out that this was happening. Someone was doing it in Sydney, at a small little theatre in Sydney, at the Seymour Centre. So I auditioned and I got the gig. It was wonderful. And I had such a great time. We ran it for 3 or 4 weeks. It was the best. I just every night cried and fell in love with Marika Aubrey and broke her heart every night. It was it was wonderful.
It was beautiful, and you were so wonderful in it. And I guess that's you look back at the kind of the heights of your career with Broadway people in the room and all of that, and you go, actually, one of my favorite things was this piece at the Seymour Centre, with 400 people, and I think there's
very actory.
Well, it's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance because these shows, they have different things for you as an actor, and it sounds like that show. It's not unfamiliar to me that artists will go, I want to do this kind of show where I get to feel like I'm in the creation of it somehow. So that's not that surprising to me. How did you cope with Neighbours then?
Oh, mate, that was super fun. It's a really different beast, Ty. So the theatre, you get the immediate. So you spend probably anywhere between 2 weeks and 6 weeks, maybe, for a musical
Yeah.
or a play to put together, and then you do that one thing over and over again. You nuance it over time, and then it finds its thing. With Neighbours, you get your scripts 2 weeks beforehand, and you shoot all those scenes, and then they're forgotten. And then you're learning the new scenes as well as getting the old ones at the same time. Does that make sense? So you're getting new scenes while you're constantly having to learn new lines while doing the ones that you've just learnt on scene and on set. So it's a completely different beast. And also there's no audience. And not that I do it for the audience, it's just kind of nice at the end of the gig, which I still find hilarious. It's the only job in the world where when you finish your shift, people do this. It's the only job in the world. You finish your gig, you're like, oh, I'm clocking off for the night. That's it for me. And they go, well, that was pretty good. Imagine like, the garbo, the fireman finishes his shift, going home. Sure, mate, go home. Like, no one goes.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a different beast. My favorite thing is the chat in between takes, like trying to make the crew laugh. I think I've, as I said, always just been a bit of a joker kind of vibe. But then as soon as it's, action, time to go, it's switch on, game face. And it was really enjoyable playing, I suppose, what turned out to be quite a villain in the show. I killed people in the show.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Not just as an actor. As an actor, I should just clarify that. As an actor, and it's just so there's always high. There's always high drama, but it's so fun to be part of something so iconic. Neighbours has been around for 36, 37 years now. I grew up just around the corner from there, where they filmed the show. So to be a part of the show that I watched when I was a kid, it's kind of just weird. It's just every day I drive in there going, this is great. Like, I just feel so grateful to be doing it.
And nice to play against type as well. When you're saying, like kill people and like just to play against type. I mean, most people wouldn't see you in that kind of role. So I guess that has its own challenges. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, it seems like you go from job to job, from strength to strength. You just, you've built this great career. Can I just find out, like, what do you do with the knockbacks? Or maybe you don't have any. Maybe you have. I don't know, Tyran. You tell me. But
I get lots of knockbacks.
right. Well, like I just go. Like, what do you? The arts.
How do I process that? How do I?
I guess so. I mean, there are a lot of people right now who are going the arts. Oh, very tricky, very tricky. And I think one part of it is coping with being the kind of person you have to be to cope with some level of rejection. And I just wonder what you do around that and where that sits for you, so that you can keep going and facing more and then get the yeses.
Okay, so first and foremost, I think everyone should take an acting class once in their life. Not to become an actor, but to learn how to project, how to feel comfortable within their body. This goes for like maybe dancing and stuff, but if you do like some sort of theatre sports and stuff, usually you do that when you're young and you just learn, this is what my body does. This is what it feels like. Like, these are very important things to know about oneself. Like, how do I feel when I read this script? What would this person feel like? Oh, what would I feel like? What do I like? What do I know? Great. The sooner that you can get a bit more introspective and try and work out how you actually feel about something, the easier your life will become. The more you know about yourself, the easier it is to make choices about things that are coming up for you. Like, do I want to do that? No, I don't like that. Well, I'm not doing it. Jerry's going to do this. Do you like Jerry? Sometimes. What's he doing? Doing some weird stuff. Nah, it's not for me. I'm going to do this. Like, because you know how you feel about it. So that's the first point. I wish I had done more acting when I was younger. But anyway, it's all worked out okay. And what do I do with the no's? The no's are important. They're so important for life. Failure is important for life. Not that no's are failures, but they're knockbacks, right? So maybe you're just not right for the gig. Maybe you're too tall. Maybe you're too short. Maybe you've got different color hair. Maybe you're just not the body shape that they're after. This is not a personal attack on you. This is what the whole team of many, 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 many people. Tyran, how many people put together a show? Big and small. You're still looking at 10 to 15 to 20 people that are trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle of all the people and all the things that fit. So you can never take it personally. All you can do is turn up, do the best audition that you can possibly do, embody the character the best way you know how. And I think the best thing you can also do is take direction when you're there. Listen to the director, the musical director. They're trying to help you. One of my favorite things is hearing from a casting agent many years ago. She said, "I want you to get the job." Not me personally. This is just to the room. As soon as that person walks into the room, they know that job's done for them because they've cast them in the show. But the rejection, I'll just finish quickly, Ty. I'll get back to your question. I exercise. I try and get my endorphins in other ways. I hang out with friends. I keep doing it. I keep doing the thing. I don't know. Lately, I've just been singing silly songs on Instagram. So if you're meant to be creative, just keep creating it. And a good friend of mine, Cameron Dado, said this to me many years ago. He said, "Don't wait for permission." I'll go back to the thing I said to you earlier about technology. Everyone's got a phone that has a camera. You want to make something, make it. Make it. Yeah. It might not be the best Scorsese film, or it might not be the best movie that you've ever put together, but it's something. You created something. Just make it. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah.
It's amazing because I have a similar thing about creativity rather than the industry as such. But like as you say, studying the arts is to study what it is to have empathy. Like when you're talking about what this character feel and what would this, and ultimately, that really helps you be a better human being. And what about? Can I just ask, in terms of lockdown, because it's kind of tricky at the moment. The world is a bit tricky this last couple of weeks. Yeah. How do you stay resilient in that? I mean, is it you talked about exercise and being creative and having projects and creating things. Like how are you? What are you doing now? What do you put your time into while we've got another 2 weeks of this?
I've gone into some sort of creative consulting for a few different people, which has been great for me. I'm learning how to work in a corporate sector, trying to help them making banking seem more entertaining. So I'm lucky enough to have been asked to do that, which is great. Also, I get sad, Ty. That's what happens. I cry. As empathetic people, we feel what other people feel. And there's a dark cloud. So what do I do when I'm sad? I cry. I hold my partner and I cry. And I have no shame in it. Absolutely zero. Because every time I have a cry, I feel fantastic after. I feel so much better. I get to release whatever I was holding on to. And I know what I'm holding on to. It's there's a bit of sadness around because we can't see our friends. We can't perform. Our shows get cancelled. The thing that we do the most is it's so important to people. We're storytellers. We help them escape from that thing. But the flip side of it is, the other side of the coin is, that also helps us escape. So I talked to my good friend Bobby Fox about this last year, about when we perform, we're filling other people's cups. They're having a good time. They're in the audience. They're like, this is good. He's pretty good. I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. So I also, as a performer, he's like, that makes me feel good. I feel good because you're feeling good. So I miss that. I think that's the thing. And I think all performers are missing that. It's not so much, I miss my craft. I miss doing storytelling so people feel good. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of who you are as a creative person and part of self-expression. And how about, I've heard rumor that you might want to fill our cup this evening because you may have a song Is this true? Is this true? Wait, what's going on here?
I'm so bad. I wasn't sure. I didn't prepare anything, so I wasn't sure whether I would sing like a little bit from like Wicked a cappella, like because it is still that's the show that for me really, I don't know, it put me on this path to like learning how to be a professional, doing 8 shows a week, learning the craft, working with some incredible actors like Rob Guest and Rodney Dobson, Amanda Harrison and Lucy Durack. So I thought I would just do a little bit of that. Is that okay? But it's a
Yes, because
cappella.
we haven't heard it as well. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you about is like, we haven't heard your voice recorded enough because there was no Australian cast recording of Wicked, and so there's no. So this is a little chance for, like I saw Wicked many times, and I didn't know you then, but it was always just this is a little blast from the past. So please, can we have a little bit of Wicked?
All right, I'll try not to stuff this up. Here we go. It's been so long. The trouble with schools is they always try to teach the wrong lessons. Also, it's an American accent, I should point out. Believe me, I've been kicked out of enough of them to know. They want you to become less callow, less shallow. But I say, why invite stress in? Stop studying strife and learn to live the unexamined life. Dancing through life, skimming the surface, gliding where turf is smooth. Life's more painless for the brainless. Why think too hard when it's so soothing? Dancing through life, no need to tough it when you can slough it off as I do. Nothing matters, but knowing nothing matters. It's just life, so keep dancing through. I've not sung that in a very long time.
We're all fangirling now. The thing missing is those jodhpurs that you wore. That's the other thing. I'm sure they're in the cupboard somewhere.
I did wear.
Yeah. Come on. What are you doing? Buddy?
I should have put. I do have the pair from the cabaret show. Still,
I remember. Millsy, it's so great.
Reveal.
I remember you so clearly in that show, and it was such a huge show at the time, and all the excitement around all of that. And we're going to go to some questions in a moment. I know we've got some questions coming through, so please, send them through, and we'll start to go to those. But it's so great. It was such a perfect mix of kind of like this kind of pop style in music theatre, and it was such a. I remember seeing you on opening night at the Regent Theatre. I didn't pay. I was one of those lucky guests.
Celebrity. You're a celebrity. Yeah.
And that's a treat. You could still play that role. I hope you do.
Oh, thanks, mate. If it came back, I would love to play it for a few months. It would be so much fun to play that role again. It is a dream role. He has such a great trajectory. Of basically what was his whole journey in the show was my life. I was dancing through life up until that moment, until I found the thing that I love the most, and that was musical theatre. And in order to do that, I had to take it really seriously. And that's the same thing. He had to take himself a bit more seriously and fall in love with the girl. His thing was finding the girl. Mine was finding the purpose.
Yeah. Beautiful. Look, there are a bunch of comments in here. And here, I'm sure Mackenzie's going to guide us through this because there's so many. I actually just saw all the comments. I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I'm glad you're here, Mackenzie. You can help me navigate this. So, what have we got here?
Well, that was fantastic. Thank you for singing the song. That was very good. So we have some questions. First, Cara asked, would you redo any musicals you've already done? Which one and why?
Well, yeah, I think that Wicked I'd love to do that again. I love playing actually all of them. I would play them all again, except for Jesus Christ Superstar. Jesus is the hardest role ever in the world. No one do it. Don't do it, guys. You've got to sing. Like no one wants to sing that 8 shows a week.
Please,
it's too much.
Please. I was going to say, be careful how you answer that question, given that I've directed you in musicals. So I was like, just careful. I think there's another one coming through.
Alternate Corsi, for sure.
Next, Daniela has asked, what does Are You OK Day mean to you?
So I've been an ambassador for Are You OK for, I would say, nearly 7 years now. And I've got to say, it just means a lot. It means a lot because it's every day. It shouldn't just be one day a year. It's just a good reminder just to check in on your friends. Now more so than ever, we're finding that it's hard. It's pretty hard to. But as I said, with technology, it's so easy to check in on your mate with a FaceTime. Or I chatted with my dad, who I haven't seen in months, the other day. I think the first thing I said to him was, "Hey mate, are you okay?" I actually asked him, and we had a really lovely chat. It's important because I feel like we need to have these conversations. But also, I should also point out, if you feel like you can't have those conversations or don't feel like you have the personality type to do that, that's also fine as well. Don't feel like there's pressure for you to be the one that has to have those chats. There are professionals that do that, whether it's a counselor, a psychotherapist, or a psychiatrist or psychologist. I see a psychotherapist once every month or every 2 months, and I find it excellent. Here's a quick one for you guys. All right. So when you're talking to your friend and you're telling them some stuff that you want to offload, I've got to tell you some stuff. Next thing you know, what do? Oh, you think that's bad. What about this? And they start telling you their stuff. Oh, it's the worst. So when you go see a psychologist, a counselor, or a psychotherapist, you just get to tell them your stuff. They don't give anything back. It's great. You don't have to take on anything. You don't have to take on their stuff. Anyway.
But you are doing great stuff. And there are a bunch of chats that were coming through about your work you're doing in the mental health space, which is amazing, Rob. So thank you. Mackenzie, what else have we got?
Adam has asked, what is your dream role?
Oh, that's good. Dream role. I think I've already played them. Like, honestly, I've played all the roles that I would really love to play. Yeah, maybe Corny Collins would be fun to play in Hairspray. I think that could be a fun one, just because it's a really fun, poignant, and awesome show. Good music, good story. It's probably due for another go again, Ty. We can talk about that.
We'll chat afterwards. Yeah, stay on the line.
Right.
We'll bring that to you, Adam. We'll see how we go.
Thanks, Excellent.
Adam. Candace has asked, is it fun meeting new people when acting?
Candace, it's the best. It is the absolute best. I get to meet some of the greatest humans, some of the weird ones as well. But the weird ones are always my favorite.
Candace, that's why he does it. Seriously, trying to direct him, and he's always in the, oh, who are you? And you get him on stage, he's talking to the orchestra. I'm like, Rob, come on. That's the pinnacle for him.
It is the pinnacle. I love meeting people. I love making people smile. I love hearing their stories. I think it's one of the best gigs, and you also get to travel with it as well. So you do get to meet people not just from your own town, but you get to travel around and meet a bunch of new people as well. But yeah, highly recommend it.
Lisa has asked, what show do you want to see the most and where?
Ooh, that's a good one. I saw Hamilton in Chicago a few years ago, but I would love to see this Australian production. I've heard nothing but amazing things. What else do I really want to see? Ty, I could definitely love to see Waitress again. I loved Waitress. I thought that was great. Oh, that's another role that I'd love to play. Waitress, sorry.
We might just specify that not to play the waitress in that show, but there's the doctor I'm assuming you're referring to in that.
Dr. Parmenter.
Because we haven't had a lot of new shows happen recently. So we're still, obviously Broadway's just sort of stopped for a while. We haven't had a lot of new shows coming through, but kind of looking forward to that in the next year or so, and then.
Oh, totally. I'd like to see, there's a great Aussie show called Fangirls. I'd like to see that on Broadway. That's what I'd love to see. Oh, and also Beetlejuice, Eddie Perfect's show. I never got to see that.
It's a winner. It's great. There you go. There's a few there. Excellent. What else have we got, Mackenzie? We've got some other ones. I can see lots of things there.
So Jude has asked, do you think you'll come to perform at Vic Jam?
Sure. Why not? When is it?
It's as simple as that, people, really. You go,
My
Rob Mills.
calendar is very empty at the moment. What
There's a
sort of
show
music do
coming
you
up.
want?
What do you do?
Do you want some acoustic stuff? Do you want some musical theatre? I do a bit of everything.
There you go. He said, there you go. He just said it. So this is recorded somewhere. So that's a contract. So
Vic Jam is our Victorian Jamboree, as we can't do a whole Australian Jamboree this year.
Oh, when is it?
Yeah.
When's the Vic Jam?
It's at the end of this year, around Christmas time.
It's possible, guys. It's definitely possible.
We'll talk to his people. What are you doing next? What are you doing next for the rest of the year?
Oh, I've got something I can't say, but then also I can say that I'm doing a Christmas show, a Michael Bublé Christmas show. Are we announcing that yet?
Show?
We're doing it. We're doing a Christmas show with a band, like 11-piece band and dancers, and it's going to be a super fun Christmas show. So I can't wait to do that. I get to sing some very just beautiful orchestrated songs. That Michael Bublé Christmas album is probably one of my favorite albums during Christmas time. So yeah, looking forward to getting my croon on again and sing a bit of "Oh, the weather outside is frightful." Getting full croon on it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cara has asked, did you go for a role in Hamilton?
Yes, Cara did. But they gave it to my friend Brent Hill, and he's awesome.
Cara, what is the answer to that? We know he's not in Hamilton right now, so we're just
that hurts me real bad, Cara. No, it's fine. Brent is amazing, and I'm so happy he got the role. That's, I think, one of the things I love most about our industry is, like, I'm so happy for him. Like, I'm so happy for my friends when they get the gig. I'm always like, well, I'm just not right for it. That's okay. And you did it, like, that's fine. I'll just do something else.
Yeah. Cara has written, I'm sorry. Cara has just written, I'm sorry. He's actually not that sensitive, Cara. It's fine.
No,
he's really
I'm fine.
We sometimes have, if he has a real bad day, we years ago, remember we got our own Big Mac sauce? Remember that, Nilsy? We made our own.
Yeah, that was great.
That'll cheer anyone up. So when
we're allowed burgers,
we'll have one of those nights. Sorry, Mackenzie.
Sorry.
Andrew has asked, what was the best bit of working on Neighbours?
The best bit about working on Neighbours, it's all cool. It's all like being on, like, going out to Ramsay Street was really cool. Seeing all the old houses that you see on the TV. Working with Alan Fletcher, Jackie Woodburn. I think my last week on the show, last couple of weeks on the show, was the best. We were out on location. It felt like we were shooting a film. I got to do so many random things that I never thought that I would do, like running through the bush and shooting a bow and arrow, like smashing Toadie over the head with a rock, which is a big foam rock anyway, it was so much fun to just do heaps of different stuff on different locations. So that was my favorite at the very end of my time.
Beautiful.
Jen has asked, did you want to try your lucky on Broadway?
I might try my luck on Broadway. I went over there a few years ago, I think after Wicked, and I auditioned for Bernie Telsey, who cast like 90% of the shows over on Broadway. And I sang something from the last 5 years, and I sang something from Jersey Boys. And I'll never forget this. He said, "Get a visa, Rob. That was great. You should be here. You should totally be here." And I went, "Yeah, I should be here." And I went home, and then I just got a job here. And I got the last 5 years here when I came back, and then I got another show, and I loved it. I mean, sure, love to, but also I love working here. My friends and family are here, and I love just going to New York for holiday. I don't think I'd really like to live there. That's just me.
Jude has asked, did you miss the pub gigs?
So much. Tyran would know, during Chess the Musical, just most recently, which I can't believe we managed to put a show on during this crazy time of our lives. And I was next to Mark Furze, or in the same dressing room with Mark Furze, who was on The Voice a few years ago. He was on Home and Away. He is just an out-and-out rock star. And I took my guitar on tour. So So Mark and I, we just sang every day. We just sang rock songs. So I do miss it, but I still,
It's a pretty
play as
amazing
much
thing
as
to go to work and hear people like that just playing music and going, oh, you need to make albums and stuff. It's pretty amazing. It's awesome.
Mark will be making albums, and he is an incredible singer-songwriter. So make sure you follow Mark Furs. He's incredible.
Fiona has asked, what inspired you to become a performer?
Thanks, Fiona. That's a good question. I think my brother was my mum took me to karaoke, I should point out. Dad loves music. Mum took me to karaoke when I was a kid, but it was my brother who came home from work at a pub one night and told me that he had sung with the band at the pub that he worked at. He's like, you'll never guess what happened last night. I sang on the stage with the band. And he's 5 years older than me, and I thought he was the best. I'm like, what do you mean? You sang on the stage with the band? He's like, yeah, I did. I thought it was like the coolest thing. And I think that's part of the reason that I went, well, I'm all right at singing. I could give that a go. And I did. I changed schools and I kept doing it. I started doing school concerts and I loved it so much that's kind of what it was. Yeah. Singing just makes me feel good. Once again, I'll just say the thing about, I feel like filling other people's cups fills my cup. So that's why I do it.
Great.
Denise has asked, do you have a favorite song?
At the moment, I like that. Let's get down to business. At the moment, it's kind of because it goes, but the dough, let's get down to business. It's got some weird vocal stuff on it. I like that song. I love.
Did not see that coming, Millsy. Did not see that coming.
I know. Bruno Mars has got a new song called "Skate" with Tyran Parke that I heard today. That was really cool. I like a bit of everything.
Of course. So in the end, our
hero won.
I can't believe that's a little joke because I can't believe I put Millsy in a show where he didn't have a song. But Millsy was his guest and he didn't have a song. And that's about that little snippet that you heard there. That's kind of the sum total of his work. And so there's a lot of pressure on those few lines there. He's very good.
Nervous. I got so nervous every night doing that.
Candace has asked, what's coming up for you next?
So some more of this consulting sort of stuff. I'll keep making some fun content just for me and for people that follow my page at Rob Millsy Mills. Also auditions for theatre, auditions for TV, for film. That never stops. You get some, you don't get some. That's okay. It's just part of the skill. And then the concert later in the year.
Millsy, you didn't really plug it before, so I'm going to on your behalf. But you do have a concert coming up, which is the Michael Bublé Christmas album, with the premise that Michael can't get through customs at the moment because of COVID. So Millsy's got to step in and do the show, which is going to be here in Melbourne and Geelong and also Adelaide. So that's coming up as well, which will be awesome.
It's going to be fantastic. We're going to be back on in a big theatre, in big theatres across Geelong, Adelaide, and Melbourne, and hopefully we get to tour it around next year as well. So fingers crossed that we get to do it, but it's going to be a super fun project. I can't wait.
And for our last question, Rachel has asked, keep filling. Rachel said, keep filling our cups with your songs, Millsy. We really appreciate you coming here for us on Scouts.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I appreciate that. I'll try. I'll try and keep doing it. I'll try. I'll keep singing. I'll keep entertaining the troops. That's my thing. I think forever is to try and make people feel good. If you're one of those people, don't stop. Never stop. It's a really important thing to have in the world right now. Is our artists and our creatives keeping people's spirits up. I know it's a tough time. It'll come back around. You'll get rewarded for it. Just pay it forward at the moment, guys. Just be kind to each other and keep entertaining everyone and keep high-fiving sanitary style, like one of these virtual high fives. I'm giving everyone a virtual high five.
Beautiful. That's so great. I see, Mackenzie, there's one sneaky one that's still up down there, so we don't have time for that.
So Alison has asked, are you going to be doing carols by candlelight this year?
Oh, yes, I think so. I got a text the other day asking if I was available. So I hope so. Also, I realised I have a message from my auntie. She said, which I didn't realise this, that my cousin Judith is a scout leader at Pakenham Scout Group. So I have to give a special shout out to those guys as well. Judith is awesome. We did cousin camp. Ask her about cousin camp. We go cousin camping every holiday. It was basically a mini family jamboree, but there was like 25 kids. So it was pretty huge. We'd ride bikes and do all sorts of stuff that my brothers had learnt at Scouts. So, yeah, big
That's
shout out to
awesome.
Judith. Well done.
That's awesome. And Millsy, we want you on carols. Mackenzie's family have this great tradition where they project the carols onto the garage door and sit out on the lawn and watch it. And so I'll be there this year, and we intend to see you doing us a bit of a number. Thank you.
This sounds great. Can I come? I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to be there.
It doesn't work out. You can just come and do a solo one on the street. It's an amazing street, lit up with lights, and you can be there doing your thing.
I'll bring Dennis Walter.
Just bring yourself, and we'll be very, very happy.
Thank you. I will. I'll be there. Thank you so much. Thanks for the chat, guys. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Ty. It was so good to see you.
It's great to see you. And Millsy, it is one of those things where, you know, people look at people who've had the kind of success you've had. And I guess that thing about Rob Mills is surprisingly good. They go, oh, wow, he's really good, actually. He's really good. And not only is he really good, but he really is this person that you're all getting. Like, this isn't put on. This is Millsy. This is what it is to be his friend, is to have this energy in your life. And this is, this is not a performance. This is who he is. And that's why it's so wonderful to see you have such success, and for all of us to get the rewards of that and to share that with us. So it's so awesome to have you here tonight, my friend.
That was a very beautiful thing to say. All I could think about was, like, when I perform, it's the hardest thing that I have to do. So I try and do the least amount of, like, things that are hard all the time. So the performing bit, that's the hardest bit. So I'm definitely not performing for you right now, is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's genuine. It's genuine. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, mate. Love you.
You too.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Rob and Tyran, and Rob for sharing your journey. Once we get into theatre, maybe you can come and see Camberwell Showtime and see how amazing our scouts and guides are. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a show soon.
I'd love to. And I think next time can I interview Tyran, and you can learn more about what it is to be learn all the other sides of theatre as well, and what it's like to be a teacher and a mentor and a director and creator.
We'll do a role reversal, shall we?
Yeah, that would be
reversal.
amazing.
Yeah.
Sign it up. We'll put it in the diaries tonight. Scout Quest next week. Done.
We're not going anywhere. I'll still have these flowers.
If you guys want to learn more about Tyran Parke and those flowers, I'd love to interview Ty. So just let me know if you guys are keen for that.
What a great experience to learn the other side that not everyone gets to see.
Just saying.
There's some stories there. There's some stories there. But it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you. Mackenzie, what's next?
We have some amazing Scout quests coming up on August 24th. We'll hear from the adventures from the great race last year, and they'll tell us about their journey across Antarctica. They're partnering with Scouts Australia in their trek, and we will have some pretty awesome things to let you know and how you can get involved. Thanks, and have a great night.
I just found it.
Yay!
I got it. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome to join us as a leader anytime, Millsy.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for having us in your lounge rooms tonight. We hope that you are staying warm and staying safe. Please look after each other. And Mackenzie and I will hopefully see you soon.
Thank you for watching.